Hello there, welcome back to my channel. It is Friday, woohoo! Friday, September 20th, and it's a fairly normal day, at least I think so. I don't even know what a normal day feels like anymore because I feel like almost every day there's something going on. I have a meeting or my schedule has changed for events, although it's been all fun and good things, so I'm not complaining. It's just, it makes it a little bit more challenging to get into a routine, but I wanted to take you along with me for the day and just kind of chit chat about some updates, share some things, spend the Friday together, so let's jump into it. Now, it is actually Start with Hello Week. It's part of the Sandy Hook Promise initiative to create a sense of belonging in schools. You can Google it. They have a bunch of free resources and activities, but as a school, we've kind of had different themes for each day, and because it is Friday, it is Favorite Shirt Friday. So our students are encouraged to wear their favorite shirt.
I got a shirt guy.
That way it becomes a topic of conversation. They can ask each other, hey, what is that on your shirt? Why are you wearing that? But it also allows students to find connections with others. So if they see something on another student's shirt, whether it's a favorite show or a favorite video game, favorite color, they have something to be able to talk to that student about, and they can form that connection of, oh, hey, me too. So in spirit of my favorite things, of course, my shirt had to be black, favorite color, but this was my shirt from USAPL or United States Powerlifting Raw Nationals, which I competed at, I guess a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I don't know. Time is passing in such weird ways lately. And then of course I have my golden sparkly sequin jacket because it is a Friday, which means it is the Golden Emerson Awards. And I wear this jacket every Friday as we pass on the Golden Emerson to the next student. If you have no idea what I'm talking about with the Golden Emerson, go back and watch my behavior management video because I explain it all there. Other cool things to share. Last night we had a cultural event at school. Actually, all of yesterday was like a cultural day. Our students were encouraged to wear their cultural attire to school. And then during the day, we went to the cafeteria and we saw an Indian folk dancer. And then we also went to the library and listened to an African storyteller in the afternoon. It was so much fun. And at night, we hosted a cultural event here at school. Obviously, this was my first experience, but now I understand why so many of the teachers say it's like one of their favorite events of the year. Essentially, all of the families in the school who want to participate will have little booths where they teach others about their country and their culture. They have games and arts and food. Y'all, I ate so much good food last night. I mean, where do I even start? I had fresh tamales, I had tibs from Ethiopia, I had so many fantastic desserts, puff pastries, and different just sweet treats with like coconut and condensed milk. And I had, of course, like kimchi and freshly rolled sushi. It just was so cool. And my students that I saw there got to like take me to their booth if their family was hosting one and tell me about their culture and let me try the food and just, oh, I had the best time. I mean, everyone I ran into last night, I'm like, I am living my best life right now. So that was fantastic and just such a great energy to kind of bring into the end of the week, because usually by Friday, I'm kind of dragging, you know, the exhaustion has caught up to me, but last night, it was just so much fun. It re-energized me, and now I'm looking forward to a great day. Now, I do think part of the reason I'm also feeling so good is because I am planned in advance, and it feels so good. Typically, I like to be planned at least a week in advance. So when I leave on Friday, I have all of my plans ready to go for the next week. But ideally, if I can get planned a little bit further ahead, that's even better. Currently, it is Friday, September 20th, and I am planned through Monday, October 7th, which means I have over 2 weeks planned. And it's interesting because I know every teacher plans differently, and maybe I will do a video where I talk about here's what it means to me to plan out a week. Because I saw a comment recently from someone who's like, I don't spend more than 5 minutes a week planning. And I'm like, oh, okay, like that's awesome, good for you. It's just, I don't think that will ever be me and especially not right now in a brand new state, learning new standards. We have a brand new math and science curriculum. I'm spending a lot of time planning, but I'm doing it in a way that will set me up to spend less time next year. And right now, I feel like that's the best that I can do, which if you're curious what my slides look like, that's a big part of my planning, is creating my slides for the math lessons. Go back 2 videos ago, I made one all about my slides, and I show you my daily slides that I use to lead like my morning meeting, to transition between subjects, but I also show you a sample and kind of an example of what my math lessons look like. And so for me, planning really means setting up those slides. I already have my scope and sequence. Like, I know when we're doing certain lessons. It's more so getting the content from a teacher's manual onto a format where I can successfully teach it. And for me, that's making Google Slides. But if you want me to do a full video, let me know down in the comments. That being said, while I am planned in terms of math, because that's kind of my responsibility on the team, I'm not fully planned out for science, only because I need to pull out materials for our investigation on Monday. So typically, each week we do an investigation that kind of sets up the week on Mondays, and my team teacher creates the science slides, but then obviously I need to pull out the materials my students will need for the investigation, which we are starting magnetism next week. So I looked at the investigation last night. I know they need those magnets. What is this? Oh, foil. Yep, we need that. And then, what else is in here? Nope. Forces. Nope. Oh, spoons. I know we need that. Okay. And I think a lot of the other things are all, okay, those are mirrors. We've already used that. Okay, is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. Cool beans. Well, that wasn't so bad. The other items are like pencil, crayon, like other things that I have just around the room. Ugh. And then kind of random, but a little organization hack that has worked well lately for science is this kind of 6-cup organizer. It's the Creatology brand. I got it from Michael's. It's one of those things I bought on a whim when I was there because it just looked useful. I wasn't sure how I was going to use it, but I'm like, I can find a way to use that. And it was like $3 or something. It wasn't very much. But what I end up doing is, in science with our investigations, I typically break my class into 6 groups, which I use Flippity for that. And go back and watch my last video if you don't know Flippity. You basically enter in your roster. You can create a certain number of groups or have a certain number of students in each group. You can create a line order. You have a random name generator as like a spinner, and it's all completely free. So if you need more information on that, go back and watch the last video. But I've been using this to organize their materials. So what I will do is place all the materials each group needs into the little cup. That way I can easily like either walk around to each group and they just have to grab the items, or I'll place it on my back table or my back counter and each group can come back and get what they need, and then it gives them a spot to return it when they're done. It's just been easy. You know, it's something that has worked, and so I'm sticking with it. This is what it looks like set up. It's nothing fancy, but I do love that it has a handle so it's easily transportable. The only thing I'm missing is a penny, because I don't have a penny.
$3.50 and 1 penny. $3.50 and 1 penny.
So I added it to my Google Tasks to bring penny from home as my reminder, but I am keeping the magnets separate because if I put the magnet in there, they will already have a heads up about which items are magnetic, and they need to make predictions first. And then this is the mess behind the scenes that y'all don't usually see. My back table is essentially my teacher desk for this year, which I love, by the way. But I have this kind of cabinet area, and I've just started playing Tetris with all of the items, mostly for science, that we're still in the process for using that I can't put away yet, like the boxes for the balances that we used for measuring mass, and then now I've got like the extra spoons and the extra foil. I'm just piling it all on top. We're gonna see how long that lasts, but I don't really have a better spot to put it and I don't want to put it away when I'm gonna have to get it back out in order to return the item. So for now, it's good enough. But speaking of organization, I know y'all are gonna think I'm crazy, okay? Just go with me. I got different bins to hold the math and science notebooks. The ones that I showed in my Week in the Life video, they just weren't working out the way that I wanted, mostly because the composition books were a little bit too wide, and so they wouldn't go all the way in the bin, and it just was not a perfect solution. And while it doesn't need to be perfect, I felt like it could be better. I was not satisfied, I'll put it that way. So, don't think I'm crazy, but I'm going to return those other bins, and instead, I ended up getting these organizers on Amazon, and I have to say, I love them. My students also gave me so many compliments. They were like, Mrs. Emerson, these are perfect. Essentially, they're made out of a plastic material, okay? They have 4 different sections, although you can also get ones that only have 2 sections. But the 4 sections work perfectly for what I need because I have 2 different groups of students. So I have the blue tape would be my morning students, the purple tape is my afternoon, and then each class has math notebooks and science notebooks. So pink is for math, green is for science. So now each class has a section. I love that it is open so they can easily pull the notebooks out and return them. And it just happened to fit the notebooks perfectly. I also was able to put my dry erase boards in them, as well as these like page protectors. So I shared about this in a previous video. This is just a free place value chart. I'll link it for you. I just created it in Google Slides, but I am giving it to y'all for free if you want to make a copy. And we've been using them a lot in math. So those just kind of sit here as an option for students. But I love that they fit right on top of my Sterlite 3 drawers. So now I have the middle drawer and the bottom drawer are dedicated to their math workbooks for Eureka Math. And then the top drawer, it just says shared. And that is where we have some of the manipulative, so things like these place value discs. We have their little erasers that they use with their dry erase board, and then crayons and items. So this caddy was on top of the bin, but now it just goes in that drawer, and I finally feel satisfied with my group organization. And here is one thing about teaching in Texas that is different than when I was teaching in Maryland. We have kolaches, which if you're not familiar with kolaches, they are a Czech dessert pastry. It's basically dough with filling. Now, traditionally the Czech ones are just sweet, so like this one that's cream cheese. But here in Texas, we also have a lot of savory kolaches. So this one has, basically it's like a hot dog on the inside with cheese. But Billy and I actually had like authentic Czech kolaches when we were in the Czech Republic. Regardless, there was a 4th grade student who was celebrating a birthday today, and the family provided kolaches for the teachers. So I snagged these at lunch, and I've been holding on to them all day so that I can enjoy them now that the day is over. Or rather, almost over. Because I am planned ahead, I don't need to do any planning. I'm all caught up on my grading, which feels so good, but I need to make a new seating chart because we have definitely surpassed the honeymoon phase of the school year, which we're 6 weeks in. It makes total sense. But if you're a teacher, you know the first couple weeks, the kids are still feeling you out, they're feeling each other out, they're getting used to their classmates, and then you get to weeks 4, 5, 6 plus, and they start to chit chat a little bit more. They start to maybe, not get along as well with their classmates as time goes on. The tension builds. It's no different than like your family at home. So that's when you change up the seating chart. At least that's when I change up the seating chart. So before I leave, I do want to create a new seating chart. I'm not going to move the desks, mostly because I don't have a lot of options with how they fit together, because my desks, they have these weird curvatures, and so they only kind of combine together in certain ways, and with the configuration of my room, I don't have many options. But I do want to give my students new seats. Now, in the past, I would actually just use like little sticky notes in order to make the seating chart. I love to create like a template on a sheet of paper of where the desks are, and then I would use the little like mini sticky notes, like this kind of size sticky note. I would just write student names on it. That way I could put it down, I could visually see it, but I could easily move them around as needed because their names are on sticky notes. However, Our gradebook system actually has a seating chart function where we can take the kids, it has their pictures, and we can place them into like rows and columns in different configurations. So I need to do that and go ahead and put sticky notes on their desk to let them know where they sit when they come in on Monday. I don't do name tags, so they don't have a name tag or anything at their seat. But once that is done, I get to start my weekend. I'm happy to report that seating charts are done, but I wanted to share a quick math connection that one of my students actually made during our lesson today, and I thought it was fantastic, so I wanted to share. This is actually part of our first math unit when we talked about place value and where to place commas in numbers. Now, this was not part of Eureka. I kind of went rogue on this, but I told my students they've been hired by the comma construction company and they had to build a place value village. So we talked about the different houses. So we had the ones house, and then it had 3 rooms, the hundreds, tens, and ones. And then they built the thousands house. And so we had this whole like connection with where to place commas because the neighbors aren't getting along. But today we then were focusing on multiplying by 10, 100, and 1,000. This is kind of to jumpstart our multiplication unit. So we talked about how if there's 3 ones and we want to multiply that by 10, we can move it to the next place value because every time we move to the next place value, we are multiplying by 10. And then we talked about how if we want to multiply by 10 again, it would move to the hundreds place and how that's the same as multiplying by 100. So we are kind of forming these connections of moving across place values. And one of my students goes, oh, it's almost like they're getting on the subway to go to another house. And I thought that that was actually a really good connection. So then we started kind of using that analogy to go, oh, okay, this would be 1 stop, 2 stops, 3 stops. And then one of my students even said, oh, it's almost like each stop takes 10 minutes, just as a way to like remember that it's times 10. So I just wanted to share that in case it ends up being helpful for you or your students. But I'm ready to get out of here and start my weekend. It's 4:15 and that will be the earliest I have left all week. And it feels good because not only am I leaving early, but I am leaving for the weekend without having a list of things to do. I'm all ready to go for next week. All of my grades are done, although I just checked my email and somehow since recess, when I took a peek at my email, I have like 15 new emails. So I do need to respond to those before I go. But it should be a good weekend full of non-teacher things. And I feel like I kind of need that. You know what I mean? I need that time away. Tonight, Billy and I are going to a place called Jeremiah's Italian Ice. I believe it's a chain, but I don't think they're everywhere. It kind of reminds me of Rita's, which was one of our favorites back on the East Coast when we lived in Maryland. Obviously, they sell Italian ice, but I think they also have like soft serve ice cream and they do these like layered cups so you can fill it with toppings and things. But the reason we are going there is because one of my team teachers sent out a screenshot she saw on Facebook where they were offering incentive coupons to teachers to give to their students. And so I reached out to them through email and they're like, yep, we'd love to provide a class set. Can you come by to, pick them up? And so I'm gonna go pick up those coupons, but meanwhile, Billy and I are gonna have dessert before dinner because everyone needs that in their life sometimes. And we're gonna have our State of the Union meeting. This is something we do every month. We typically go to a coffee shop or we'll go grab brunch. Today we're doing, dessert before dinner, but it's a chance for us to check in with our relationship. So State of the Union, because, union, marriage, but also Billy's into politics, so it's a play on words. Typically, we do it at the beginning of the month, but the beginning of September was so busy with my powerlifting nationals that it didn't happen. So we're gonna do it tonight. It's just a chance for us to kind of check in on our relationship, look at upcoming events, do a finance check-in, set goals for ourselves, and it's something we really enjoy. So I'm looking forward to that. And then every Friday night we watch a movie, and it's my pick tonight. I don't know what we're watching yet, so stay tuned. But all of that was unrelated to teaching. However, I have mentioned that these videos are just gonna be a balance of my life in and out of the classroom. And now I gotta get out of my classroom so that I can get home to Billy. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and notification bell. So that way, whenever a new video drops on my Falling in Love with Teaching Again playlist, you will know about it. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to put your positive pants on. Hold on, I forgot. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on. And I will catch you in the next one.